All right, we're back here on Titans Talk. Back to the phone lines now. 737-7767 is the number. Let's go to Bobby. Bobby, thanks for waiting. You're next up.
Hello.
Hey, Bobby, you're on.
I don't agree with you about that Taylor Lewan. He's not worth the money. I look at him on slow motion and everything. The offensive line is what we need to build. The defense was number 7 in the league, and I just don't understand that they play 45 minutes of the game. The offense on 15 minutes. I believe they can get away with the defense with just 1 or 2 players. But that offensive line is nothing on that. Our whole offensive line should be gone.
The offensive line is certainly an issue. There's no question about it, Bobby. But I will tell you this. If you're looking for any bright spot on the offensive line, it's Taylor Lewan. Now, maybe there was so much hype around him when he came in that he hasn't lived up to expectations. That may be fair. He probably hasn't lived up to the talk at the beginning. But he's graded out as the best offensive lineman they have. And so he's not what you're looking to replace right now. He's every bit worth the money that you have right now. You got to find the right pieces around him to make the entire line better. The defense is good. They did not finish 7th, though. They finished more like 13th or 14th in the final standings. They had a precipitous dive over the last couple months of the season. Part of that is due to injuries. Part of that's due to scheme and all that stuff. But I do think one thing that they really need to look at as they assess personnel and as they look at a new head coach here is what about the defensive scheme? One of their big moves last offseason, remember, was getting Dick LeBeau, the Hall of Fame defensive mastermind, and a guy who's a real architect of the 3-4, to bring him in to run this. He made an impact this year, and he wants to stay. You've put all your energy into transitioning from the 4-3, which you were forever, into being this 3-4 defense the last couple of years. You're pretty much finally there in a personnel standpoint. I don't think you want to go back. And if you're not going back, I don't think you want to get rid of Dick LeBeau. So whoever your coach is, I think you want him to be on board with keeping Dick LeBeau around. Let's go to Teddy. Teddy, what's up?
Not much. I was just going to comment on just like the overall, what's going on with the Titans.
Sure.
I've watched them. I've loved them since they've been in Tennessee. You know, I'm a fan when they moved to Tennessee, and when they actually moved Nashville, went to the Super Bowl, you know, I've not missed a game since. This year, their defense started out like an NFL defense should be. After, week 4, 5, 6, they sort of started slacking off, you know, and they, like you said a while ago, they ended up, 12th, 13th, 14th in the league.
Uh-huh.
Defense is solid. They had some injuries, so that slacked off in a year. Their main focus needs to be their offensive line. It don't matter. I know we got the first-round pick coming up next year. They could take the Heisman Trophy winner. They could take anybody. If their offensive line cannot block, they're not going to be able to run the ball. Their quarterback is not going to be able to throw the ball, and they're not going to be able to do anything. They need to get Taylor Lewan moved to the right side of the line where he should be and fill in around that and go from there. But if they cannot block for their running back, and I said this when they let Chris Johnson go because everybody, he's lost or whatever. No, he couldn't run no more. They didn't have an offensive line. When you're getting hit before you can take, 2 steps after you get the ball, how are you going anywhere? You know, they got to be able to block to be able to do anything.
Yeah, no question. If you don't have an offensive line, you can't protect the quarterback, you can't run the football, and that has been a huge issue. Last 5 years here in Tennessee, basically ever since Jeff Fisher has left and Mike Munchak went from offensive line coach to head coach. And frankly, at that point, they were also retooling. You had some guys like Kevin Mawai and Eugene Amano, some of the stalwarts that were later in their career and phasing out. That was the point they were trying to retool, and they've been unable to do it, and that's been a big part of their lack of success here because they haven't been able to protect the quarterback. They've gone through, 7 or 8 over 4 years, and they haven't been able to run the football no matter who the running back has been. All right, try to sneak you in here, James. What's going on?
Hey, I was just like you was talking about the running backs. It would be good
could get somebody like Eddie George or somebody that can really, protect Mariota, that would really help out a lot for, a good quarterback like Mariota so he won't get hit. And another issue about the referees, they've got to do something with the referees about fining them or do something, because they're letting them, these referees get by with pretty much anything.
What do you mean by that?
Like the referees making really bad calls, and they don't get fined, but if a player does something, they get fined. I think that the football league needs to look into that and do something about the flags and stuff.
Okay, James. These guys are evaluated every week by the coaches, by NFL advisors, supervisors of officials. And when they screw up calls, like we saw one earlier this year on a Monday Night Football game, Seattle and Detroit, when that ball was in the end zone, Bobby Wagner batted it out of the end zone. Nobody knew there was the call, but the referees screwed up the call on the field. That crew got suspended the next week, and they didn't make a paycheck or a game check that week. An awful lot like a player would. So they are held accountable. Maybe you don't always hear it in the same way, but they are held accountable. And there's no question, the Titans need better production in the running game, and that's twofold. It's the offensive line that we've been talking about, and they've got to find more. I think it was encouraging yesterday to see David Cobb finally healthy, establish himself as a bell cow back that they could go to all day. That's one game. You obviously need to see more, but don't be surprised with the draft picks the Titans have. If they go after a running back once again, there's some pretty good ones in this draft. Final break coming. We'll be back to wrap things up after this.